Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 59 of the Berry Fun Yarns podcast. My name is Tanya, and I'm coming to you from Southeast Minnesota, where my family and I run a fruit farm that specializes in strawberries, Concord grapes, and naturally dyed yarn. Welcome to the channel if you are new here, and if you are a returning viewer, thanks so much for coming back. So today is Friday, June 13th, and it is late. It is like 8:30 at night, so hopefully my lighting is decent enough. I tried to record this once before, and my lighting went crazy, and when I looked back at it, it was too crazy for me to keep. So I'm going to try it again. That being said, life is really crazy here, so I am squeezing this recording in so that I can hopefully get it out to you by the end of this weekend before next week, which is my busiest week of the year. So a little life update to explain to you why that is. I mentioned at the beginning that we specialize in strawberries and Concord grapes and then naturally dyed yarn. But strawberry season here in Minnesota is primarily from like June 10th through the end of June. And it just kind of comes fast and furious. And we used to be a U-pick farm. We used to grow about 3 acres of strawberries. And we had people come out and pick. And then just over the years, it's been harder to have enough workers to care for the plants before we get to the part about we get to pick, because strawberries are very high maintenance. You have to weed them a lot. And they're just a lot of work. So we downsized after COVID and decided that we were going to go with just already picked quarts and flats of strawberries. So that's what we do now. We have like a call list where people sign up on a Google form, and then I have this big list. We pick every day. I just go into the list. I text or call whatever the person wants me to do. And then if they want the berries, they come get them, yada, yada. So it's just kind of a lot of management of like customer service and, you know, keeping our Facebook page and our website updated, our phone messages updated, picking the berries, and then making sure they're packaged properly and scheduling pickup and all that kind of stuff. And I primarily do all that managing myself. So my 4 kids are all home yet. They range in age from 13 to 22. My oldest just graduated from college, but he's back for the summer working for us too, as are the rest. So I do have good helpers for picking. So there's usually 5 of us that go out to pick, but all of the other stuff I do myself. So that's been going on. And then also getting ready for Zombie Knitpocalypse, which is a retreat that happens in Rochester, Minnesota every year in June with Amy and Megan from the Stockinette Zombies. They have a YouTube channel if you want to check them out. And it's an awesome retreat. There's usually like 150 to 200 people who come from across the United States, and they stay here from usually most people get here like Tuesday evening, Wednesday morning, and the retreat goes Wednesday afternoon to Saturday evening late. I have some friends who I've been friends with now. This is our 10th year that we will be doing this retreat together. We met in 2016, and they come in a whole week early. So they're coming in tomorrow already. So that is super fun. But so this week I was getting ready with I'm a vendor at the market. There is a market, and I set up my yarn. I have a booth there for my yarns and my patterns and all that kind of stuff. So I was doing my last dyeings sessions before the retreat. I still have them. Probably can't see them, but back here you can kind of see there's some buckets there. They're all skeined. One of my sons helps me. He does the skein winder, and he gets them all skeined up for me, but I have to finish labeling them and that sort of thing. So I've got that going on. And then also this year, I am going to be a part of the designer showcase with my knitting patterns. So that is fun too. So you just kind of have to it's sort of like a presentation, and people get to see what you design and ask questions and all that kind of fun stuff. So I've been really busy, but I did want to come to you quick to share some things. I have finished 2 things since I came to you last, and I know that if I don't come to you right now, that I probably won't record anything until the beginning of July. So let me show you what I have been working on. So the first thing I finished 2 pairs of socks. The first one is a pair of stripy socks that is knit with woolens and nosh, targy base in the Meadow Sprite colorway. These I knit for my husband. They were knit on a US 1 needle because the targy base is a little plumper, so it knits up slightly different. But so I thought I could go down a couple stitches. So I cast on 60 instead of 64. But in the end, I decided it was too small, so I went back up to the 64 stitches. And that's what I did all the way until about this white stripe on the foot. And then I decreased all the way down to 60 again, just because then it would be a little more fitted on the bottom of his foot after it got over his instep. So those are done, and I'm setting those aside for the fall because both these pairs, because he has several pairs that are going to have holes in the fall. I just know they won't last very long. And then the second pair I finished is this one, which is knit in my Berry Fun Yarns. It is the Berry Tough sock base. The main color is called Tainted Love, and the blue for the heel and the toe is Lost in Your Eyes. And these are super fun as well. I believe I will probably use one of them as a sample when I'm set up at my conventions and the farmers market and stuff, so I can show this colorway because I do still have some in stock. But then those will be set aside for him for fall as well. And those I knit on a US 0 because the Berry Tough sock base I have is an 80/20 merino nylon, and it's a high twist 2-ply, and it's not quite so plump. So it knits up good for me on a size US 0. So that is that. So I did those 2, and then I promptly cast on 2 more new socks. Even though I technically have 1 other pair of socks on the needles, I wanted something different. The one I have on the needles yet is it's got yarn management things going on because it's got like 2 different colors, and I'm switching between like 2 rows of one row of the other. So it's not quite as like take around with you as these ones are. So I cast on 2 different ones. This one I actually just cast on this morning. This is going to be a vanilla sock for my 13-year-old son who has a big feet. He wears a US men's 12. Again, sorry, the lighting isn't super bright. There we go. That's a little bit better. So this one I am knitting. The cuff is this kind of maroony purple. It's a purple with very red tones to it. That is a Knit Pick Stroll. It was part of a like mini skein set. This one was also in there. And this one I am going to use for, I think, the opposites. So I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do like heel and toe in this one and then cuff in this. No, I said it wrong. Cuff and toe in the purple and heel in the yellow on the first sock and then switch it for the other. Or if I'm going to just do like cuff in one, toe in the other, and keep the heel the same main color. So I think I need to do some weighing of the yarn to make sure that I have enough. Or, for all 3. I'd like to do all 3, but I don't want to run out of yarn. And because his feet are bigger, I normally cast on 72 stitches for him, which I did do for the cuff. And then after the cuff, I decreased by 4 down to 68 because I noticed even though he needs the width in his foot, it was a little bit baggy in his ankle. He didn't need the full 72 inches in his ankle. So I went down 4 stitches, and we'll see if that is a little bit better fit. I'm going to have him try it on though to make sure that it's not, when I get a little farther, to make sure that it's not too tight for him. So I told you what the cuff is. The main color is Mitchell's Creations, which is a dyer from New Orleans. I said that wrong. I said it very Minnesota there. And it is the Flower Bomb colorway. I forget what her first name is, but she's a lovely lady, and I met her. She was set up at ZK a couple years ago, and she was right next to me. So I got to meet her and chat. And I actually think, so I'm picking up my things I'm dropping here, I actually think this was a ZK colorway that I got that one year. It was in my goodie bag. So those will be fun. My son loves purple and he loves bright color combinations, so I know he'll love those. And then the other pair I cast on is for myself, and it is the new Lemon Top Socks, which is a patron pattern with the Bakery Bears. I'm a patron on their Patreon page, and this was the part they put out these platinum collections, so it's patterns. They come out once a quarter. It's an exclusive pattern for all the patrons that are, I think, platinum or gold members. I can't remember the whole ditty about it, but I wanted a long cuff, so I made it a little bit longer. And this is a fun Emma's Yarn colorway. It is called Heavy Pour. It's a beautiful, like rich purpley pink color. And then the main color, also beautiful, is called Bejeweled, and it is by Frankie Gray Fibers out of Canada. So I'm loving these colors together. So for these, I used these two colors in my blanket design, which I'm going to show you later. And I just loved how they looked together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the cuff, the heel, and the toe all in the purple, and then the main color in the variegated. And then I may have enough left that I can switch and do another pair, but do it opposite. So that's my plan. The Lemon Top Socks pattern itself is kind of a textured, swirly knit and purl pattern. It's not super complicated, but just how they are, the order in which they're knit. But I am a little concerned that perhaps the variegation of the yarn from Frankie Gray Fibers might be too wild to show off the pattern. So I'm going to knit for like an inch or two and see. And if it is, then I maybe will just do a vanilla sock for this one. And then when I switch it, I'll get like a more solid color like this for the main. And then I'll do the Lemon Top Socks for that. I love the fun of picking the new colors for socks and casting them on, and it's just so much fun. By the time I finish a pair of socks, usually I'm just like, I'm over the color. I'm ready for something different. So this was fun to start some new socks. And I'm sure I will take socks with me to the Zombie Knitpocalypse retreat next week because they're just great while you're talking to other people, things to knit. Okay, I have two other things on my needles that I've been working on, and they are both blankets. The first one is one you have seen before, and I am almost done. So this is the Bits and Bobs blanket, also a pattern by Kay Jones. This one is available for everyone to purchase on Ravelry. So here's this one is really hard for me to show you because it is huge and it's heavy. So let me back up shortly, and I'm going to show you, give you a little picture of it, but then I'm going to tell you my saga. So here is it in all of its glory. And I have knit about 12 inches since I came to you last. Can you see where that little stitch marker is? Way down here. That is where I was. So I have knit a lot. Now, so what I was going to tell you is that for those of you who are new, I make a temperature blanket for my children when they graduate high school to take with them to college. And it's based on the temperatures of the first year of their life. So this one, how I did it is I started out just doing one row there and back. But then I was switching my yarn so much that it was just so many ends to weave in that I decided instead, and they were all on the same side. So instead I switched it and I do a row and a half for each color, for each day. So say the temperature is 56 degrees and the color for that day is navy. I am holding one strand of the color with one strand of undyed fingering weight yarn. So it's, excuse me, I have the hiccups. It's two strands of fingering weight held double. The undyed yarn I'm holding through the whole skein, through the whole blanket. So I'll knit across and back and then across one more time. So in essence, a full row and a half of knitting per day. So then, sometimes like you'll see these larger sections like right here. That's because there were like 3 or 4 days in a row where it was a very similar temperature, so the color is still the same color. So when I cast this on, here's my sad saga story, which actually turns out okay in the end. My previous children, when I knit them, my first one I crocheted a corner-to-corner crochet blanket, and that one was fine. It did felt a lot, which I learned after I had already knit my second child's blanket in the same yarn. Even though it was superwash, it was Wool of the Andes superwash from Knit Picks, which for anybody who's going to use that, it does felt quite quickly, even though it's supposed to be superwash. So they can't dry that in the dryer. This time I'm using Stroll fingering from Knit Picks because it's affordable, comes in a bazillion colors, and it is meant for socks, and so you can put it in the washer and the dryer. It's a little bit more hard wearing, and so it'll be easier for him to care for when he's away from home. So when I cast this one on, the second one I made too skinny, and my son told me, "Oh, Mom, I love it, but if you ever made me another one, if you could make it wider." So I was very aware of that when I cast this one on in January. And I was like, oh, I'm going to cast on more than the blanket directions say. But I wasn't really thinking because I already knit looser, which means that it's going to be a bigger blanket. And so I pulled finally. I should have done this a long time ago, but that would have been too smart. That's something an expert knitter would have done, is to check her gauge at the beginning of a large project like this. But I did not. And so I had this blanket, and you can kind of see how it bunches in the middle there. These are 40-inch circular needles. So I knew it was at least 40 inches, and I wanted it to be about 50 inches wide. Well, obviously, my deduction skills of how wide that really was without measuring was way off, because I think I have a picture, and I'll put it in. I put it on extra needles, and I laid it completely out on the twin size bed that is in this room last weekend before our dance recital when everybody came to visit. And it is as wide, well, what I thought was going to be the width is as long as a twin size bed. So it's like 70 inches long. It's 70 inches wide if I keep it this way. So what I decided is that I'm going to switch it, and the width, what I've been knitting back and forth in essence, is really going to be the length of the pattern of the blanket. And then this part, which was originally supposed to be the length, is going to be the width. So I am so close to being done. I'm so close. I think when I did the math, I have to do about 6. I think I only need about 2 inches more because I put in this little stitch marker here. Where did it go? Here it is, this little stitch marker down here. And I measured that I wanted about 6 or so inches from that stitch marker before I stopped. And I can get 3 days. 3 days give me about 1 inch of knitting, and I need about 2 more inches. So I need 6 more days. It takes me about a half an hour to do a day. So that's about 3 more hours of knitting I have. So I am so unbelievably close. So I'm really excited. I'm hoping that I can finish it even this weekend because in the United States, it is Father's Day this coming Sunday. And we don't have anything super exciting planned. We're just going to kind of chill. And my husband's going to have kind of a relaxing day. And we'll kind of pamper him with whatever he wants, but we're not really going anywhere. And we've had so much rain. It's like rained every single day over the last week that we can't really do field work. My kids are caught up on the hand weeding. So it'll be kind of a chill inside day. So I'm trying to get all my work done so that I can work on this on Sunday, which also is why I'm recording right now. So anyway, it's going really great. I have a lot of ends to weave in. Can you see all these ends down the side? But I did I did a chunk of them at the beginning. But I have a lot of ends and they're on both sides, see? So that will take me a little bit of time, but I am excited that I'm going to finish that because, in all actuality, I cast this blanket on in the beginning of January, and 6 months for a full twin size blanket is pretty good, I think, considering I've been doing a lot of other knitting at the same time. So it is a messy tangle of yarn underneath my feet right now. Let me see if I can fix that. I have one more thing to show you, and that is, I'm very excited about it, my new blanket design. And it is called, I had a hard time picking a name for this one because it has these really cool line segments. Can you see this? I may put a picture in here because, of course, I'm like partway through the row, but it has these little lines that go down. They're created with knit one below stitches. And so I was like, well, I kind of want it to be something about lines, but I don't know. Thank you, everybody, by the way, who gave me suggestions on the last episode, because they were great suggestions. They just didn't quite they were good, but they just didn't click for me. So I thought about this name for weeks, probably 3 weeks before I figured it out. Just a couple days ago, given the state of the country right now, if you're in the United States, or even if you're not, there's a lot going on in our country right now. And I don't usually talk politics, but I am kind of appalled at the state that we are in right now. We did not need to be here. Anyway, I am not a supporter of the current administration, and I really think we need to embrace our differences and work together. So when I looked at the lines on here, I was like, it kind of makes me think about how we should walk together side by side. Maybe that sounds a little, I don't know, woo-woo or whatever, but when you're in the moment, you're in the moment. So this pattern is now going to be called Side by Side. And I like it. It's kind of like, the lines are kind of next to each other, but it has sort of a deeper meaning for me. Anyway, that's a lot of rambling to tell you the name of the pattern. But what I need to tell you is that, let me see if I can hold it back and you can at least see the pretty colors. So I have gotten, this is a corner to corner knit blanket. Here's my corner. So this is about 30 inches. It looks a little longer than that, the way it's stretched, but it's 30 inches before it's blocked and stretched out. So the pattern itself is very flexible. It can be knit in many gauges as long as you're not concerned about having enough yarn. However, I have done the math for it to be DK weight. I'm holding 2 strands of fingering together, double, or you can hold a single strand of DK weight. I did that math for a size baby blanket, which is a 30 by 30 inch square, or a standard throw blanket, which is a 50 by 60 inch rectangle. So that's kind of the math that I did. But like I said, it's corner to corner. You can increase if you want a bigger square. You just keep increasing until you want it to be smaller. And same with the rectangle. It's very easy to follow in the pattern to adjust your size based on your gauge or weight of yarn. You would just have to take into account you need a different needle size, and also you would need to be aware of your yardage of your yarn is going to be different. But it's perfect for scraps, which is what I'm using. A great way to use up some scraps. You can see one side has just a single line there that's going side by side, and then the other, because of how the pattern works, there are 2 of those lines. It is really hard to see. I will put a pattern picture in here for you, but I'm excited to get this out to you. I just finished all of the editing today, and I sent it out to 7 of my fabulous, wonderful test knitters who are going to be working on it over the summer, and then in the fall, probably late September, early October, it will come out as a pattern to purchase for you. So I am very excited about it. It took me a long time to figure out this pattern and how I wanted it to look, and I don't know. I feel like when I design things that are in my head, I have this like idea of what I want. And if it doesn't fit the idea, I don't like it. But once it fits the idea, even if it doesn't speak to like lots and lots of other makers, if it speaks to me and I feel good about my pattern, then it's a success. So so I'm excited about it. And I hope that the test goes well and my writing was clear for everybody, but it's a fun pattern. Okay, enough jibber jabber. Thank you for coming, for joining me for episode 59. And I hope you are having a lovely spring if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, or fall if you are in the Southern Hemisphere. And I probably won't come to you again until after strawberry season. So probably late June or early July. All right, everybody, I hope you're well, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.